Peace, guys. I jumped back on Facebook Live just to answer another question that was presented to me in my e-box and somebody called to ask me to deal with it. That question is the black woman God? According to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's an interesting series of thinking, and I'm gonna bring attention to something real deep pertaining to that question. I would say back in about 1995, and again the question is, well, at least presented to me, is the black woman God? According to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, not a personal belief or anything of that nature. Not that my belief is the opposite of what I'm about to say. Many years ago, I asked a question to a brother by the name of Minister Eric 23X. Minister Eric 23X is one of the ministers that Brother Minister Farrakhan actually communicated with back in the early years when he had first started beginning again, starting it back up here in Philadelphia. I had asked Minister Eric 23X pertaining to the term Father Civilization being in the lesson, which was who was the original man. The original man is that black man, the maker on the cream planet Earth, Father Civilization, God of the universe. At which time he stated that that was actually a part of the original degree, which was Father Civilization. We later on find that through Brother Minister Farrakhan in the interview in the 70s, in which he uses the term Father Civilization in the lesson. So I asked Brother Minister Eric 23X, so did somebody accidentally remove it, and did they create a pretty much a lesson? Because in the penitentiaries, a lot of the degrees that wound up hitting the free cipher came from gods who was actually writing the lessons out of their mind. So when they was writing it from out of their brains, these individuals sometimes missed certain things, like number 6 would be number 7 inside of the lesson number 1 or something like that. And then these lessons get put out to thousands of people, and then you have people running around with mixed up lessons, right? And that's how it really comes about, and some people change them completely because they don't understand why it says a certain thing. Well, what Minister Eric 23X told me was that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad removed Father Civilization from out of the degree. I asked him why, and what he said to me was that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad removed Father Civilization from out of the degree in order to stop a male chauvinistic mind state from entering into the mentality of FOI and men, period. He said that he meant that woman is inclusive under the terminology black man. This was his answer. Now, it will be years later that I will get confirmation that Father Civilization was actually removed from the degrees, and that was looking at Brother Minister Farrakhan address, I believe, the teachers at MUI, at which time he cited the lesson, and he said, who's the original man? They said a black man to make on cream planet Earth, Father Civilization, and then he went to say God of the universe. He said, but we got rid of that right there. Talked about Father Civilization. Now, he didn't go into it, but that pretty much solidified what Brother Minister Eric 23X had stated pertaining to them particular degrees. Now, to go a little bit further, when the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was questioned pertaining to the black woman coming about due to the deportation of the moon, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said no. That was his answers. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad went further when questioned the woman, and he spoke primarily, ever since you have had man, you have had woman. Now that brings forth another reality, which actually supports the messenger, Minister Eric 23X's statement of the messenger removing Father Civilization out of the student enrollment question number 1, which is very important there, because that will mean that the woman is inclusive under black man, right? Now, let's get into the junction of what the messenger teaches pertaining to the subject. I'm not going to wix around the teachings of the messenger to fit my own views, my own theories, or my own thoughts, but the strict words of what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us. Within the Afrocentric community and within the Nation of Islam, there are just opposed positions. And within these things, one is going to the extreme on one side and one goes to the parallel of the extreme on the other side in order to bring a balance. Which is, you have the Afrocentric community has pretty much denounced that man is God completely and has primarily accepted that the black woman is God and has made the black man inferior to the black woman, which is crazy and doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But excuse my language, I understand why you do it. You get a lot of pussy that way. I get it. It's not an argument in that manner, right? As far as that, we have within the inclination of the Nation of Islam, the position and movement of that statement, which I recognize M.G.C used secondary but necessary, but I think that in many degrees it has been to belittle the position of the woman. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad did not consider the black woman as being less than the black man, nor did he teach that the black man was greater than the black woman. Neither do the Holy Quran. What he gave was roles in the position of man in the reality of woman. According to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, all original people are born Muslim by nature. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad goes further and states that all Muslims are Allah. He did not distinguish between the masculine and feminine in that statement. He said that all Muslims are Allah, in that we must be inclusive of mentality from just common sense, that means that the black woman is included under the title Allah in making reference to that statement. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad then goes further in Our Savior Has Arrived and say, remember, Allah means gods. So if all Muslims are Allah, and all original people are Muslim by nature, and you are what your nature is according to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, then that means that not only is the Muslim woman Allah, but since Allah means God, that means that a woman is also God. Listen, hey, lesson number 2, question number 1. A question arises. Who made the Holy Quran a Bible? How long ago? Will you tell us why Islam ignored it 24,000 years? The messenger answers. The Holy Quran a Bible made by the original people, who is Allah, the supreme being, the black man of Asia. Now, if in original people, the messenger meant to exclude black woman out of that, then he would have meant that. But the black woman is being inclusive under the title of black man, right? So when we have to look at it, our messenger teaches us that God means possessor of force and power. That's ultimately what it breaks down to, right? My apologies, that was my son. All right, so if the woman is the woman possessor of power and force, I would think she is. In fact, the woman in many manners manifests more power and force than men. It's just being honest. It has to be honest about that. Not stating that she is greater than us. The reality of who and what is man, in man being God, and his position in the household is not determined by what the woman is not. It's determined by what the man is. It's two different things. I don't see that it is necessary to belittle the woman or make the woman beneath me or underneath me in order to solidify my godhood. I'm God. There's no way around it. And I'm the supreme Allah within my household. But listen to this. This occurs by my wife's permission. And I'll make a statement by that. Man cannot force woman to submit to him. You don't force. You being your natural self causes her by her love of you to submit her will to you. Yeah, I hope I make sense. Come on, man, what are you doing? Use your brain, man. But anyway, that's how she submits herself to you. It's voluntarily, right? If a man is God and he does what he's supposed to do within his household, the woman submits. That's how it works. You can't force her to. That's illogical. You don't dominate her. That's not how that really works. If you do dominate her and she becomes a sycophant within your relationship, then it shows how less of a God you are, not how great a God you are. But according to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, if we're going to go by it, by your strict definition of how the messenger defined it, the black woman is indeed God. It's just a manifestation of duality, manifesting itself in dual positions, one masculine, one feminine. Just like man has a masculine and feminine principle, she has a masculine and feminine principle. In fact, the woman by nature can tie into the more deeper and inner meanings of things, meaning on a spiritual level than men. That is absolutely a fact. They are able to ascertain those states because men think differently. Men are external creatures. Our actions are by force, almost everything we do, which is different than her, right? So they say when you're dealing with spirituality, that's a feminine principle. But if you look at the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, there is supreme balancement within the teachings. But the woman is never within the teachings being less than man. She is equal to man. And that does not mean that she's your master. Just like in the rank and file, you have captains, you have lieutenants, you have an hierarchy. Every man is God, period. But then you have a commander officer who you submit your will to. He becomes the supreme Allah within the position that he is in, and he gives orders, right, and direction. Inside of the household, the man gives order and direction, at least to an extent, because any man that has been married and been in a relationship for many years realize, listen, that that the sisters hold and contain a lot of power sitting in them households. Let's be honest and keep it real. Let's not be fake and be spooky about how this thing works. So therefore, I would say, according to the teachings of the messenger, the black woman is God. She's not greater than, and she's not less than. We have positions that we play. But ask yourself, let's deal with physics. Let's just deal with physics. She's made of the same material as you and I. You come out of the womb of your mother. Everything is created and made, or created from, it creates itself, meaning it duplicates itself. 2 dogs don't give birth to a mouse. 2 mice can't give birth to a cat. It's just that simple. If a cat was to be impregnated by the sperm of a dog, you will no longer say that that's a cat, and you can't say that that's a dog. So my question is, how can man come from the womb of a woman, but yet the woman is inferior to a man, but an inferior particle give birth to a supreme God? I don't understand that one. That ain't real. Because you may say, well, because of his father. But what if his father is ignorant? What if his father is a drug addict? What if his father is a dope head? But yet the wife or the woman is the righteous one. The woman is the one that keeps herself in high self-esteem. The woman is on her spiritual promise. But the man is a dope head. The man is a drug addict. The man is an abuser and all of that. How is he more supreme than her if we're dealing from a spiritual sense? That's not true. There are levels and degrees of understanding godhood. And the woman has the right of reaching her godhood just as well as a man can. There are women that has ascertained godhood, as there are men who has as well. So if the question is the black woman God? Of course she is. She's the possessor of power. I don't know why she's not. Do she have the ability with her mind to affect change throughout the magnetic field? Yes. Do she have an imagination in order to formulate pictures out of the ethers and create archetypes from inside of matter? Yes. Do she have the power to think her way through things and to, by design, create a model from out of her mind to what her will and her desire chooses to be? Yes. So what make her less than me? What make her less than me? That is a question that we have all spoken of in time and years. But in maturity, you can see the ultimate reality of how she's God as well. We are unified within our thoughts. But think of it like this. If you and I was to go to a restaurant, and the wife has your last name, and let's say the last name is Allah. When the wife and the husband enter the restaurant, what is the statement that is used? It say, it is Mr. and Mrs. Allah. That is what it said. Mr. and Mrs. Allah. So the woman is recognized under the man. She is not separate, but she is within the man. So therefore they become one. That does not make her less than us. Even when you look at the divine Atum, there was a feminine principle that existed with Atum in the self-creation that he manifested to present. There is a, I don't even have it. 1 minute I know. There is a divinity within even the creation of the divine Atum. There is a feminine principle. There is no way that an inferior creature can give birth to a superior one. It just does not happen that way. That's right, brother. All Muslims are Allah's. Allah is all of us. I don't think that all of us is exclusive of the black woman. It is inclusive. That's what us means. The reality is that we have to get above and beyond the conception. The conception that when we say that the black woman is God, that automatically deprive or gets in the way of your deification and your position. That doesn't have anything to do with that. That is a weak way of seeing things. That's a weak way of seeing things. But if you say that the black woman, the message of teachings are clear and cut. His statements are clear. That does not tread upon who the black man is. And with all that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught pertaining to the black man and his position as God, he also made all of those other statements pertaining to all Muslims, all laws. Remember that Allah means gods. Allah is all of us. So it is for us to tune in our understanding to what he was understanding and not us trying to manipulate what he was teaching in regards to the subject matter, to the quality of what we believe it should be and not what it is. This is what he taught. You can either accept it or you can reject it. But I'm pretty sure the messenger had a supreme understanding in what he was teaching. It is us who has a weak understanding of ourselves. And because of that, this becomes a problem. That is the only reason. Because I see my wife as Allah. I taught her that she was Allah. I see my wife as God. I don't like to use the terminology goddess. That doesn't even make sense. All that exists is God. All that is Allah. What is Allah without duality? All become one within Allah. So when we look at it, look at the teachers for what they are. Don't, look at them for what they are. And hopefully we will develop beyond the state of the necessity to believe that giving a woman her props and her position within life is in some form of fashion challenging or diminishing our position as men. Because if that's the case, then you haven't become a man. Men's egos are very frail. Very frail. We are very frail. And innately, because of the society that we are raised in, we all exist in some form of fashion with a tinge of a male chauvinistic mentality. We all do in some form or some fashion. But we have to rise out of that type of mentality. Because the great strides that black women has taken throughout the years in their developing and raising and building has showed that they possess wisdom, force, and power of their own. And some people will say, well, a woman can't reach her highest destination without a man. I disagree. Man and woman is complete within themselves. A man can reach his highest and fullest potential within himself by marrying on within himself and finding the deity within himself and ascertaining the reality within himself. Or you wouldn't be able to have women who separate themselves into covenants and men that separate themselves within mountains who ascertain God's state if it was necessary for the woman to be with the man or the man to be with the woman in order for them to ascertain such a state. That's not true. The woman has God within her. The woman has her own higher reality and own higher self within herself. Just like man has it within himself. A woman that does not marry the God within herself first become a victim to a man that is godless. That's a fact. And she suffers for it. So I disagree with that type of mentality. I agree to an extent in understanding that man learns his feminine quality through the woman and the woman learns her masculine quality through the man. Each balances themselves out. I'm in agreement with that. But I believe that any man who does not have a healthy relationship with a woman is incomplete. And any woman that does not have a healthy relationship with a man is incomplete. Because there's a reason why you haven't been able to enter a healthy relationship with the opposite sex. And it's usually because of the psychosis that you suffer from in some fashion or form. So when I just wanted to answer that question, is the black woman God according to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad? I would have to say yes. The same substance, just separated into a dual equation. The man existed first, yes, but the woman also existed within him simultaneously. That is the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So that's how I want to weigh in on that. And that is what I want to say. I'm pretty sure many people would disagree. And they can science it up and go throughout the message of teachers pertaining to the woman. Is there We can either accept it or reject it. It's up to us. But each individual who studies these teachings accepts the teachings to their degree of understanding and what they are comfortable with. That is a fact. What they are comfortable with is the degree of which they accept certain truths as taught by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That is a fact. So, that's my position on it. I hope I answered the God's questions that wrote me back channel and the gods that called me on the phone earlier, about 20 minutes ago. That's my degree. That's my understanding. And we can argue this from down to end. And the answer is still going to be the same. If you go into physics, it's the same exact material, same intelligence, government. It's the same thing. Of course you go that the black woman has 6 ounces of brain. Okay. If brain weight determined the conscious reality of an individual, then that is a poor way to judge it. There are women out here that are way more intelligent than men, that are way more successful, that are way more in tune with the universe, way more in tune with the self. It just exists. So what I say, when you can put one expression against another, you can always keep doing that all the way down. What we got to do is stop surface dwelling. Because that's what we're doing with surface dwelling. When you go beyond all of the surface where there are waves, that appears that there are some higher waves and lower waves up in the ocean. But the deeper you go into the ocean, you see a communion of oneness. There is no waves, there are stillness. So whenever you want to know the truth of something, go beyond the waves. Because see, the top of the water is affected primarily by the movement of the breeze and the wind and things of that nature. But the further you go deeper within, you will find unity. You will find truth. So when you look at the unified reality of it, the woman is an expression of myself. She is not, she is me. I am she. I am my mother. I am my father. I'm not just my father. I am my mother as well. Two gods creates God. It's just that simple. And if you don't understand that, look at what the messenger said again very carefully. You cannot go beyond the limitations of the first God because he came down through you. And he is now in all our persons. Very important language. See, when we look at it, we're looking at something different. But let's think of this. Let's say God looks at himself and creates a second self of himself. If we look at the communication with the divine Puyamanda and Hermes, he said that woman was created out of reason. Okay, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave a few reasons, which was looking after his second self, all those particular realities that he presented. Now, if he looked within himself and he manifests the woman from himself, then that means that the woman is the feminine aspect of himself. Not a lesser degree of himself, but a feminine expression of himself. Now, from these two expressions, all things come into existence if we take that route. So therefore, that will mean that when you trace your mother, and let's say you trace your mother back to her mother and her father, then you trace that mother back to her mother and her father, and the father back to his mother and father, you keep going back, what you would see is that that is the same entity or same individual just manning himself at different times in increments of existence. It's not a separate life form per se. only in expression. But it is the same thing, manifesting itself in constant realities at different times, at different points. So according to the Messenger teachings, I will say the black woman is indeed God as well. That is what I stand for with that. If anyone chooses to argue against it, you can. You have your own science and degrees of mind that you choose to deal with. But if it comes to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, according to his teachings, the woman is not less than the black man. According to his teachings, according to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teachings, the black man is not greater than the black woman. According to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teachings, the black woman is a Muslim by nature. According to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teachings, all Muslims are Allahs. According to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teachings, remember, Allah means gods. According to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teachings, Allah means all of us. That's his teachings. It's for us to come to an understanding. To me, the black woman don't need to be less for me to be God. I am seriously secure in my godhood. And I'm sincerely the man of my household. But I recognize in totality the beauty of my God wife. It's just that truth. I don't know how you see it. That's the way I see it. So I salute the gods. And I greet the gods, peace God. I create the Muslim gods, assalamu alaikum. And to the angels, salam Allah.